So welcome to Art for All Ages online to our Zoom meeting for the day today. We want to thank each and every one of you who showed up today, whether it's a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, no matter where you happen to be, we are happy to have you here with us today. We're going to be talking about Art for All Ages, and in particular, our online program, which is designed specifically for retirement communities, and just a few notes about where we're going to be going today so that everybody is on the same page. Today's recording of this message is going to be recorded, and a version of this will be online available later. So as I mentioned, this program for today is specifically designed for retirement communities. This webinar will deal with that particular function. Now, if you happen to be in one of the other categories, if you happen to be, for instance, an in-home care provider or a franchisee, or you're a resident of a community, or maybe you're just an artist by yourself, there's still plenty of wonderful and useful information that's available to you in this particular program, but this is specifically designed for retirement communities. What we would suggest is if you happen to fall in one of these other categories, that you contact us directly to find out more information about how this program can work best for both you and your organization. Experience. Well, some of you know who we are and some of you do not know who we are. For the record, my name again is Steve. My last name is Favor, like let me do you a favor. And we are with Art for All Ages, and since 2014, for over 6 years, we've experienced the wonders of our sponge painting system in a wide range of retirement communities. And we know because of our experience that this system works, specifically designed for seniors, and it works for seniors. And we've been in Atrias, Brookdales, holiday retirements, sunrise communities, 5-star senior livings, and it is amazing what this little guy here, this sponge, can do. In fact, if you take a quick look, if some of you have been on our website, you may have seen some of these paintings already, but I have to tell you, if you haven't seen some of these, just take a look at the paintings that are here, and I have to tell you that when you look at these kinds of paintings, what you're going to find is that here, the flower painting, a paintbrush never touched the painting. Now, it is true, a paintbrush is used to mix up the paint, and that's predominantly what we use the brush for, is to mix up the paint, clean out the brush. That's almost all we use the brush for. As far as some of these others, look at the cat in the window, a brush never touched the painting. This one here is one of our new paintings, 1, 2, 3, the Castle by the Sea. And this one here, a paintbrush, never touched the painting. This one here with the balloon in the sky flying high, the only brushwork are those tiny little cords that attach the basket to the balloon. Everything else was done with the sponge. And this lovely sunset painting here, same thing, 100% done with nothing more than the sponge, except the landscape here, it was designed with a brush, but once you learn our system, you can do that with one of our stencils. And we'll talk about that more later on. So technically this painting also could be done 100% with nothing more than the sponge. So we know, activity directors, your job, it's hard. You have a rough job. And there's no doubt about it that this pandemic has caused your job to become even harder than ever before. And what we're here to do for you today is to help you to make your job easier. Because I know that before the pandemic hit, you may have had Art for All Ages coming into your community, or possibly some other local artist that was coming in and providing art classes for your communities. But this is no longer the case because the doors have been closed because of the pandemic. And so that's why we have moved everything online, and we now have pandemic-friendly art classes. Now, when we talk about online, there are 3 ways that our program online can work for both you and your community. And we're going to talk about these 3. Now, some of these 3 may or may not apply to you and your community. Please bear with us as we go through all 3 of them. Guaranteed, 1 or more of these are going to fit with your community. Now, the first one is what we call independently. And you can see at the bottom here, it says it's 100% free. And I got to tell you, you cannot beat free. This is 100% free for the community. And this independent working is when your residents independently utilize our website to go on and learn how to do our sponge painting program and continue the classes online from their own room or wherever they happen to be. In this particular scenario, the residents pay for everything, purchase the monthly fee for the subscription, and they also purchase the supplies for themselves. We'll talk about the supplies shortly. You don't have to do anything here except share who we are and our website with your independent residents, and they will be able to access this. And for that, it doesn't cost you anything. Now, there's another option. Or if you want, you can, as a community, pay the monthly fee, allowing your residents to have unlimited access to our website. And in that scenario, the residents then can go onto the website and they choose which of the plans they want for the supply list. These are approximation rates for the supplies. Currently on our website, there are 3 options for supplies. There's the basic, the suggested, and the recommended. The basic supply is dirt cheap. It's only about $36, and I have to confess, it's not great, but it's wonderful to just wet your whistle and see what this is all about. So for $36, you can basically get yourself started with the basic supply setup. We'll talk more about the variations on the supply list a little bit later. Here's where many of you might fall into this category: assisted living and or even memory care. And it works for both. I have to tell you that in the 6 years that we have been doing this program, it worked for these levels as well. Now, in this particular scenario, the community pays for the monthly fee to have our service, to give it unlimited access to the activity director in your community or their assistants. And they do have unfettered and unlimited access to all of our training supplies, including specific training videos on how to train them how to lead their own class. Whether they have little or no art experience whatsoever, there are ways that this program online can work that your activity director can lead an art class. And we're going to talk about some of those ways in just a minute. In fact, when you look at this, the community pays the monthly fee and the community pays for the supplies. And what we say is that the activity director has a variety of ways where they can utilize this program. And we're going to talk about that right now. Assisted living program, we have an activity director who wants to conduct classes. This is the easiest way. Your residents are still locked into their rooms, as it were. You're on lockdown and you're still not out of phase 1, okay? And your residents are in their rooms. Can go into the rooms of each of your residents one-on-one and just clean up the supplies in between each and every resident that they see. This is one of the easiest ways that it can be utilized one-on-one from the resident's room. But perhaps you're in phase 2 or phase 3 and you're looking to do small groups. Here's a great opportunity that your activity director can now have a small group between 2 and 5 residents, and they can lead the class themselves. Now, when they do this, they can do it either with or without the video. Let me explain. If you're the activity director and you want to be the hero, you want to be the one in charge, you can do this. All you have to do is the day before or the night before you want to have the class, you watch the video online and you paint your own sample. And the next day, you come in and you are the hero. You get to share this wonderful program with your residents, and they never see me. They have no idea of who Art for All Ages is. They are none the wiser. They think you're the greatest artist there has ever been who came up with this wonderful system, because they never see us. And you run the whole show yourself. And that's fine. But if you are still a little foreboding about that and you don't want to run the program yourself, you don't have to. It can be as easy as this. Just push a button. And that's all we're talking about. Because what we're really suggesting here is that you put the video onto the big screen. And when the video is on the big screen, now all you have to do is push the button to start. And then push the button to pause when we get to that section. And then you can walk around and help each of the residents as needed, okay? And then you come back and you push the button again, and boom, the video starts again, and then it shows them what the next step is. And we walk everybody through the painting one simple step at a time until everybody is finished. Now, I understand that there are going to be some communities who might be, shall we say, technologically challenged and find this difficult. How am I going to get this video onto the big screen that everybody can see it? It's true, you can use an iPad, you can use a laptop, but here let me share with you a wonderful way that's super easy. If you happen to have one of those iDevices, like an iPhone, okay, or if you have an iPad, what you can do then is if you get what's called Apple TV, which is just a small little tiny box, then you can easily access whatever is on your iPad or iPhone, and it gets projected onto your TV. Brain dead. And the Apple TV is very inexpensive. I think it's a little bit more than $100. So for that, you can actually have access to the program and be able to use the videos as we talked about. The results, well, they speak for themselves. This is one of our independent residents and the painting that she created. This happens to be 4 paintings from one of our online students, and she created these 4 paintings all by herself. She had no intervention with anyone else but the videos that she had watched online from our online program. Pretty impressive if you ask me. And as far as assisted living or memory care, here's a couple of samples that we've had from our live classes. And with a little assistance, they also can create wonderful paintings. In many of the communities that we have been at, you can see that there's a case over here. They either frame up the paintings or they have a case here that they show all of the wonderful paintings that the residents do each time they have a class. Remember, we said we were going to talk about supplies. Well, we're going to spend just a couple of real quick minutes talking about the supplies now. When we talk about the basic supplies, this is a picture of the basic setup. And as you can see, this particular watercolor palette here, it's kind of what you used when you were in elementary school. It's not the greatest way to paint, but it is enough to get you started to show you how the program works. And for basically $36, you can have this interim setup to get you going. It comes with a drawing pad, it comes with brushes, it comes with a pad of paper, and it does come with sponges. We'll talk about that. If you want to spend a little bit more, the 160 or the 205 range, you can get yourself a much better palette, and you'll be able to get tubes of paint that you can fill each of the sections in the palette so that you have real painter's paint. The nice part about this option is if you run out of yellow, you can easily get the tube and just fill in more yellow as needed. One of the other colors that's very popular in our program is also called Payne's Gray, and we tend to run out of that a lot, and it's not so easily mixed up in this beginner's palette. And if you run out of it, again, you have to buy a whole new palette in order to replace that kind of coloring. So this is a much better way to go. And if you happen to be in the situation where you're going to be doing small groups, maybe 2 to 5 residents, you're looking at, for 2 to 3 residents, it's about $320 to get your supplies. But if you happen to be in one of the areas where we had our live classes, we are liquidating our supplies. And if you are interested in any of those supplies, we are happy to have a conversation with you and send you a supply list and a rate chart list so that you can buy some of those supplies from as little as 1 setup, or as many as 3 or 5, or an entire rig if you want to do as many as 15 in your community. Contact us for the information on that, and we'll be happy to help you with that. At this point, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have us, you stay where you are, and I'm going to now switch us to go and take a look at our website online. And this is going to allow me to share with you how easy this program is and how you can all use it so readily. This is our home landing page. And as you can see here at the top, there's our logo, and there's a variety of different tabs that you find here across the top. What you'll also find is that there's a redundancy in our program, that everything that's here at the top is also down below. And we'll talk about that. So here we have free classes, art classes, we have supply list, membership, and so forth and so on. But if you scroll down from the front page, you can see these large boxes that do the exact same thing. Here are the free classes, Here's access to all of your art classes and also testimonials about us, supplies, and of course, membership. Now we're going to go through a few of these one at a time, but we're going to utilize the top buttons up here to show you what this is all about. Let's start off with the free classes. Everybody wants to know what's free. Well, one of the great things about this program is what we call Tuesday's Tips. Every Tuesday, we sponsor a short little video that gives you extra tips on how to utilize our program. We'll just go ahead and say, watch me for a second and go into here and see what's going on for the Tuesday's Tips. Here's the last one from July 21st. We'll have a new one for tomorrow. You'll have to tune in for that one. But this one's specifically how to paint birds. And it goes into showing you how to paint birds. Here's another video tip on how to fill your palette with the various colors. This one over here is about how to paint trees. And on and on and on it goes. There's lots of Tuesday's Tips that you can find out information about us. If you want to get back to the landing page, all you have to do is click our logo here at the top, and that will bring you back to the front end of the website. From there, we're going to go back to the free classes, and we're going to show you a few other things that are free. Again, because everybody likes to see what's free. There we go. Now, some of you may have already seen our first class, which is a free video. I have to tell you, this One Tree in the Field video, it's a winner. It's a winner because it will give you the keys to the kingdom. It will show you all of the basic knowledge that you need in order to paint with our sponge painting system. 3 simple moves with the sponge, and the painting is done. And this video will show you all of the ins and outs of how to do that yourself. And we give it to you for free. It's yours. In addition, you can here watch another video on how to use a paintbrush. And then here is again a video on how to do your palettes. But this is probably the most important video right here. Let's go ahead and get this one in play here. It's this one here, which is Art for All Ages Online Training Video, How to Lead Your Own Art Class. This is $99 if you buy it, but I gotta tell you, it comes for free with your regular membership. So when you sign up for your regular membership, this is one of the first places you want to go. This is actually a live class with breakout sessions in sections of the class to specifically show you how to lead the class yourself so that you too can do it if you're an activity director. And there's a lot of other free things that are on here. You can show your residents the demonstration to get them interested in the program. This is also free. And the second part of the demonstration is actually the painting itself. And then of course there's sponges. You can't do our program without sponges. And this video here shows you how to transform your sponges into the sponges that we use for our system. Now, some of you and or your residents may find that a little tricky because you have to use a knife to cut the sponges. And if that's the case, don't worry, not a problem. You can easily order ready-made sponges from us. They come in a package of 2. You just dip them into a bucket of water, they puff up and they're ready to go. And then there's a bunch of other free things that are available on here, and we're always adding new stuff. And let's go ahead and on over to the art classes and take a look at a few quick things there. There is a video about stencils, more about that in just a minute. Looking at these 2 paintings in particular, as we said, this is the first video. Everyone in your community should watch and do the first video class because it teaches you the basic system. Even though we go over a lot of those details in the other videos, it is very helpful if everybody starts with this particular video. But you'll notice that this painting here is done 99% with nothing more than the sponge. And the only part that's the brush is the actual tree branches and the trunk. That's it. Everything else is all done with nothing more than the sponge. Now, you take a look at this cat in the window painting and you'd say, wow, well, that looks pretty cool. And I gotta tell you, no brushwork at all for touching the painting with this particular painting. And you might say, really? How is that done? And here's the catch. If you keep reading where it says 91 cat in the window, and in parentheses, it says number 19 stencil required. Some of the paintings, not all, but some of the paintings in our system require a stencil. The paintings where you don't have to use the brush are the ones where you mostly are going to be using a stencil. If you're not using a stencil, you will have maybe 5 to 10% where you're going to have to do some kind of brushwork. And as you go on, there's lots and lots of different paintings. And what you'll find is there's about 20 to 25 paintings online right now where you do not need a stencil. So if you don't want to buy the stencils and you want to try the ones that don't require that, there's at least 2 dozen that you can utilize without stencils. Looking at the flower painting again, no brushwork at all. It's just simply the stencil and the sponge makes it happen. It's super easy. But again, there's lots of others like the Twilight Timbers here. This one here uses a little bit more brushwork because you have to paint the trees. Everything else is sponge. This one here, the Ocean Sunset, it's all done with the sponge and a little bit of brushwork, no stencil required. But if you look at some of the others, like this one here, there's no brushwork, but to do the deer, you must have the stencil, which is required. And you can look through here at all the different kinds of paintings that we have. And there are lots and lots of them, and we're adding new paintings to the system all the time. In fact, we have over 100 paintings that are part of the program, and we only have about 50 of them that are online right now. We're continuing to add new paintings each and every week as we go through. Let's go back up to the top, and let's now take a look at the supply list. The easiest part is there's a video that teaches you the basics about our supplies. You can also, as I said, order ready-made sponges if you don't want to do that yourself. The basic supply list, here it is. It's approximately $36, and it gives you the basic rundown of the supplies to get yourself started. All you have to do is click the purple button and then give them your credit card information and your address, and they'll ship the supplies directly to you. This is the suggested supply list. It has the professional Winsor Newton paint, and it is more expensive at about $160. This one is the recommended supply list for about $205. And the reason this one is recommended is because when you look at the paint, it's actually Blick paint instead of Winsor Newton. And so it's a little bit less expensive, 2.5 times the size paint tubes. So you get more than twice as much paint with this particular program. So it's a much better way to go. Now I'm going to click on this. There's no obligation if you wanted to check this out yourself on our website. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And hopefully you can all see what I'm going to be looking at. This takes you straight to the Blick website, and you can see all of the various supplies here. Now, if you're going to be doing this for more than one person in your class, you would have to come over here to the first item where it's the palette, and over here in the green box, you'd have to change this to the number of palettes that you want. If you order this basic setup here with all of these paints from Blick, what you'll find is that this paint, there's enough of it to fill 2 to 3 pallets. So if you wanted to order 3 pallets, you can just change that. You'd also have to come down over to the drawing board, have to change that to the quantity of 3, and also for the brushes, you'd have to change the quantity of that also to 3. We'll go ahead and get out of there and go back to our website. Now, underneath the supplies, what you're going to find here is how to fill your palette. There's another video there that's connected to that in a PDF file as well. But here are the stencils. And when we talk about stencils, what you're going to find is that, again, there's about 25 paintings in the system online where you do not need a stencil. But there's over 100 that are with the program, and they require the stencils. If you're not going to order any stencils at all, I highly recommend that you order at least this first set, which comes with stencils 1, 2, and 3. Because with just those basic 3 stencils, you can do a lot of different paintings in our program. But if you come down and look at the very bottom of the stencils, here is your best deal. And it's this one here, where you order all the stencils. This is $185, and you can save yourself $60 if you order all the stencils. So it comes with a total of 14 stencils as a kit, and it's shipped directly to you, and that will allow you to do all the paintings that are on our website. If you need to order anything separate and individually, you can always go to the bottom of any page, and you'll see the Blick logo here, and that'll bring you to our Blick website where you can order whatever you want. Again, back up at the front, you can just go ahead and click the logo, and you can find yourself right back at the front end of our website. As far as membership is concerned, you can click on the membership button, and membership is very simple. It's simply $210 a year, which is a little bit of a discount if you pay for the whole year up front, or it's a flat, easy rate of $20 a month, and again, giving you access to all the videos online from our program, which again is always continually adding more and more. We'll go back to the front of the page, and now I just want to show you this real quickly before we close here and go into the Q&A, which is the login. When you log in, you would simply hit this button. Having already set up your email address and your password, you would then log in to our system. Once you are logged into the system, you then have access to all the products. So you would click here where it says products. We'll wait for that to load, and lo and behold, here are the products. And here, we've already started this painting on this particular system, so it says resume course. Here, you can resume this course because it's already started, okay? Or you can start any of these courses accordingly. And these, again, are some of the many paintings that are part of our program. Now, the buttons that are at the top, they still work also. If you want to go back to art classes, you can go to art classes, and that's another way that you could access it as well. And you can see here, it doesn't have a price anymore. It just says start the course. And you can start anyone as you see fit. We'll go ahead and come on down here and see that there's lots and lots of paintings that are available with the program. Let's go ahead and just click on one of these here and see which one of these we like. Let's go ahead and, because it's summer, we'll click on the beach scene. And so you click on the beach scene, and now you can see here, it gives you access to the video, and then it opens up, and here's a picture of the painting, and it starts and it opens up nice and simple. And that's it. There's our host. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Okay. And now we are ready for the Q&A, questions and answers. So give me just a